Rosemary Vlogs. I make lifestyle content here on YouTube in the form of vlogs and themed videos, such as this one. So this one may or may not be a little bit different for those who have been following me along. I do tend to, well, it's very obvious actually in my vlogs that I'm quite the foodie. Spencer and I, my boyfriend and I, both love food. We love making food. We love treating others to food. We love trying new foods. Anyway, so it's not that off-brand for me, but I wanted to make this video because I cook a lot and I love sharing what I make. I love sharing it with my friends, and oftentimes they get some recipe ideas from me, so I was like, why not share it with my online friends as well? So I'm going to be going over some, I say summer recipes, it doesn't have to be summer, but it's kind of focused on that, kind of like doing some summer recipes before the summer ends. So I'll be sharing some recipes with you that are super yummy and pretty easy. There'll be some meal ideas and some beverage ones. These are just some of my favorites that I like making for myself and Spencer, or even friends when I have them over. So they're nice to host or just have like in your regular weekly schedule. So before we go in, I'm going to be, giving as much detail as possible, but I'm not going to be giving such in-depth recipes because these are very kind of easy meal ideas, and like, yes, there is some sort of recipe elements, but I won't be teaching you how to cook necessarily. So keep that in mind. But I'm very active in my comments. So please, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below in the comments. So anyways, okay, enough yapping. You can tell that I'm usually a vlogger. But let's get into the recipes, shall we? Oh my God, did you hear that crack? That's crazy. I need to move more. Okay, anyways, let's go. Okay, the first thing that we're going to go over today is our first mocktail. This could easily be turned into a cocktail. We just don't really drink, so that's why it's a mocktail. And it's kind of like a play on the Shirley Temple. So I called it the new Shirley, because again, new kind of version of it. Anyways, let's go into what the ingredients are. Our lime sparkling water, I use bubbly. Raspberry lemonade, we use one from Farm Boy. Maraschino cherries, a slice of lemon. Take those ingredients and start to assemble it. So I started with about half a can of lime bubbly, the rest of the half of raspberry lemonade, and then I added cherries on top, and then of course a slice of lemon to top. You cannot tell me that this drink isn't so cute. Let's go into the second recipe, which is a meal. The first meal that I'm going to show you, I'm calling my tomato girl, if you know, you know, ricotta dippers. So you're going to need some heirloom tomatoes. I suggest trying to get a few different color ones just to make the plate more bright. You'll need some garlic, pesto, you can make your own, what we didn't here, olive oil, and now these are optional, but I use some microgreens and black olives to top. And also we had some sourdough on the side to dip, but you can use the tomatoes to dip, or you can just use another type of bread, whatever you want. You're going to want to roast your garlic beforehand. Once it's roasted, put it in the ricotta, put it in your blender, or in our case we have a little immersion blender, and blend it with the spices and a little bit of olive oil just to kind of make it be able to spin a little bit more, because the ricotta is quite thick. And you'll also want to slice your tomatoes kind of in like a thicker wedge. Once you have the dip, ricotta dip basically, ready, you can swirl it into the middle, and then what we like to do is just add a little pesto on top. So you just drizzle it kind of like in a little circle, or you could just spoon it in. It's really easy. And then you'll see that I topped it with my microgreens and some olives just to give it a lot of color. And I've also went ahead and just like took apart my big parsley mix and like just shook it all over it so that the green is kind of all over the place. You can also add salt and pepper to taste. This is really cute. This is honestly like a very, very good and easy thing to put out when you're hosting people, even if you're just having some people over for lunch and this is your appetizer or dinner or whatever, or you're just coming and you're hanging out. This could be an easy snack. And again, we served it with sourdough, but you can do it with a bunch of different things. And trust me when I say it is very yummy. It is very yummy. By far, I think my favorite recipe out of all of this. Okay, so now let's go into our next beverage, and this is going to be the blueberry latte. I first fell in love with this when I went to a local cafe here in Ottawa, and it's called Art of Bean. They have the blueberry latte, and ironically, it just kind of makes me laugh that whenever you order it, they write BBL on it. So, not beating the allegations. No. Anyways, some people might be like, I'm not sure if I like coffee and blueberry together. Trust me, it's actually really, really good. And this is super, super simple. So we have the blueberry latte in coffee version and then also in matcha version. So we're going to go over those two right now. Again, these are super, super simple. The main ingredients for the coffee one is obviously your espresso or your coffee brewed how you would like it. I brewed my fresh espresso in the morning like I usually do every day. I use 2 shots for reference. And you'll need your milk of choice. Mine is oat milk. And then to make the blueberry part, you'll need some blueberries, water, and sugar to make a very simple blueberry syrup. It's basically like a cup of water, a half cup of sugar, and then blueberries. You put it in a little saucepan on your stove and you let it cook down for around 10 minutes. You can keep it longer if you want. Just make sure that the blueberries start to break up and cool down, and then you'll want to mash them if they're needing a little bit more help, and just make sure that your water has absorbed all the sugar in it. Once it's done, you'll strain it just to get some chunky pieces if there are any, and then you'll leave it in a jar to cool down before you use it. And when you're doing the matcha, it's the exact same, except the only thing that's different is you'll need your matcha instead of your espresso. So you'll want to get your cup of ice, and then you'll start to spoon in your syrup. This is just a taste. I did around 3 or 4 spoonfuls, and I don't like coffee and matcha that's so sweet, and it was still pretty decent. I find that this syrup is not as sweet as the typical like jars of syrup that you get from coffee shop. And then go in with your milk, and you'll see the colors start to go in, and then pour your caffeine, so your matcha or your coffee, and then stir it up as you please. And honestly, it's very good, very refreshing, and again, such a great pick-me-up little weekly thing, a morning coffee if you want, a little lunch break coffee, especially for hosting. You know, it's cool. It's like a cool beverage. They might not have ever tried it before, so why not? I also think that this syrup would be especially really good in a lemonade, so you could add that as well. All right, so the next item, or the next recipe, is a chicken taco recipe. It might seem kind of plain, like a chicken taco, but trust me when I say some of the specific ingredients I'm going to share with you really make it just all that much better. It might not be a super traditional one, so please keep that in mind. Nonetheless, it is a pretty delicious week meal night, and really nice if you serve it for others as well. So the main ingredients for this are, we're going to be using chicken thighs for this, some white onion, chopped chilies, and avocado, and getting real corn tortillas. We got ours from a local store here called a tortilla maker. If you live in Ottawa, I highly recommend it. It was very, very good. And then trying to get like a real actual queso fresco. This is a more traditional cheese. You can find it in some grocery stores, but we went to a Latin grocery market in Ottawa that had it. So check in your area if you do have more of a traditional store, because honestly, these true authentic ingredients actually elevate the meal so much, and I'm not just saying that. You could also use the queso fresco for making like queso, like the cheese dip as well, which we did another night, and honestly, it was very, very good. For this chicken, we've used this method for our chicken thighs always, and it always works super great. And I know a lot of people have like fears when cooking chicken. This method that I'll share with you has made it just so easy. We cook it on a pan with some oil for 3 minutes aside, medium-high heat, and then we put it in the oven at 450 for 10 to 12 minutes. Now, the oven part, it might vary on what type of oven you are. Our oven is kind of like on the fritz, honestly. So like, I don't know if it's heating a lot or not heating a lot, but that's the timing that works for us. Trial and error for the first few times, just to kind of understand your oven, especially too, like if it's a gas or electric or whatever. I think it can vary. So anyways, when you cook your chicken on that, just use whatever spices you feel like you want. Again, this one, I'm not really saying the spice mix. I think look up on Pinterest. I think there's a lot. And then you'll assemble your taco basically. I think, again, the key is using those actual corn tortillas, heating them up on a little pan on your stove, and then putting your ingredients on top. You can see this is how we layered ours. Also, I think cutting your avocado slightly like this, I think it just makes it more pleasing to the eye. Also pretty nice if you're serving it. Again, if you're just making it for yourself, you know, don't really care, chop it how you want, but I think this one looks really good. And for ours, we also use a hot sauce that we really like. So we use the Valentina sauce, and I highly recommend it, and it was delicious on these tacos. Alrighty, so now we're going to go into our next recipe, which is another drink, which I actually think pairs really well with the tacos, and I did make it the same night. So this one's kind of like a bitter lime soda. So the main ingredients for this one is lime sparkling water. Again, I used bubbly. You'll need a ginger beer. This is the brand of ginger beer that I used. And then optionally some fresh mint on top, just to make it a little nice and bougie. It also does add a really nice aroma. Again, this one's a really easy recipe. Start with a nice cup of ice, and then add your basically half a can of bubbly, and then the other half fill it with the ginger beer, and squeeze in your lime. I like to put a full lime, but I really like lime. Start with half if you're like unsure about it, and then we just top it with mint, and then it's just like the perfect little bitter nice beverage. I find that it's really nice because I do tend to like bitter drinks, and it makes you drink it slower. And also it's kind of like a healthy drink because lime's good for you, and the ginger beer is also really good for you, and it helps with digestion as well. Fun fact. So the next recipe that we have is a little bit, it's more of the complicated one, but it's not complicated. It just has a little bit more ingredients to it, and it's called our Moroccan-ish bowl. I'm saying Moroccan-ish because it's lightly inspired, and again, I'm not familiar with the traditional thing, so I don't want to say that it is when it's not. For this recipe, I got inspired by a recipe on Pinterest by Healthy Fitness Meals, which I'll also link down below because I don't want to claim this one as my own because it is lightly inspired by it. So the main ingredients for this are chicken thighs. Again, I also think that tofu or roasted chickpeas would be a great alternative. Olive oil, tomato paste, russet potatoes, red onion, cucumber, cherry tomatoes, and some spices such as paprika, cinnamon, nutmeg, cayenne, and salt and pepper to taste. To make this one, you're going to want to start with your tomato-based sauce. You're going to take 1/4 cup of tomato paste in a little bowl along with the following spices, and again, it's all linked below. So after you have that sauce, you can go ahead and start prepping your chicken. What you're going to do is you can use our method again, start it with the pan, and then once it's cooked in the pan, rub on the tomato paste glaze kind of sauce that you just made, and then put it in the oven to cook. You'll also want to start your potatoes, so we just wash and cut our potatoes, and then we throw it in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil, some spices like salt, pepper, onion salt, garlic salt, just something light because the other stuff is pretty flavorful. And then we bake that usually at 425 for 40 minutes, flipping it halfway, and then you'll move on to your salad, which you'll cut your cucumbers, your tomatoes, and your red onion together. Once everything is taken out, you'll want to place your salad on the side, your potatoes on the side, and then your chicken, and then optional you can plate a little bit of tzatziki right on top as well. That's what we did, and it was absolutely delicious. Relatively easy and super yummy meal that you can add to your weekly meals or make for someone, and they'll be like, wow, this looks beautiful. Because it is, and it tastes really good. All right, so now let's go into our final recipe, and this meal is actually one of the meals that we make the most, honestly. Before Emily Mariko, I will say, I was doing sushi bowls, and I will say a little bit better before that kind of went viral. But anyways, I'm also not the first one to ever do them. I'm sure lots of people have made them, but basically this meal is kind of like a sushi bowl slash poke bowl. There's so many ways that you can make this bowl, but I'll be sharing the way that we like to make it using the ingredients that we like. We do use fish in this, but again, you can easily find like a vegan alternative. There's no issues with that, obviously. So the main ingredients for this recipe is rice, edamame beans. We like to get the ones that are already pitted so we don't have to do that while we're trying to cook. Some cucumber, mango, avocado, fish of your choice, or maybe some marinated tofu I think would be great as well. Some mayo and sriracha to make spicy mayo, and some soy sauce. Also some carrots. So essentially for this one, very easy. You start your rice, we cook it on the stove. We like using jasmine rice for this, and we also add a little bit of rice vinegar and sesame oil to the pot, which just makes it more fragrant. And I add a little bit more water than it says to, and I find this helps make it kind of a little bit stickier, which kind of feels more like sushi to me. And then we also steam our edamame beans at the same time because they take around the same time. Then we start by chopping our ingredients, so our mango, our cucumber, anything else you want to put in there. Essentially when it's all ready, put it all in your bowl and assemble it. This is how I like to assemble mine. I find it very colorful, very appetizing. We love eating this for ourselves, and again, a really nice meal to give to someone when hosting. Look at all the colors. Like, I think it's very inviting, and everyone eats with their eyes. So when something looks good, it tastes good. Some things that I add on top sometimes, if we have it, is like seaweed shavings. Like I'll just cut off some seaweed, like nori sheets. But we didn't have some this time, but I did have some sesame seeds on top that just make it look even better. And again, you can have your spicy mayo on top and try to like drizzle it. I didn't do a very good job drizzling. It looks like it's just like anyways, you get the point, and it was very good. And then take how much soy sauce that you want and just drizzle it on top if you want. So yeah, those are some of my favorite recipes that I like to make in the summer. And let me know if you like this. I would love to share more cooking content in the future. For those of you who are new, I am planning on moving, so the kitchen lighting is going to get better, hopefully. So that'll be great. So I hope to film a little bit more cooking videos and like actually show the cooking process, not so much just the plating. And again, that's mostly because our kitchen here right now is very dark, so it's just not the vibe, which is fine for now. Anyways, again, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and if you would like, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. I'm trying to grow to 1,000. That's my big goal for 2024. I'm just having a lot of fun, so I just want to, you know, share my videos with as many people as I can. So thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you in my next video.